Hey guys, it's Beverly, and as you can see from the title of this video, I'm going to be talking about something in relation to women's health, in particular cervical screening tests as a way to prevent cervical cancer. So this video will be talking about what cervical screening is, when you should go, who gets invited, why it is important, what happens during a cervical screening test. I have been to my first one this month, so I'll be talking about my experiences on that, some forms of HPV, and some question and answers, as well as some links that I will be inserting at the end if you would like some more information and that I haven't touched upon in this video. And if I search on YouTube cervical screening test, I don't really see many women talking about it. I really just see videos of doctors talking about it, nurses talking about it, small ads on it, but generally not on video touching upon what cervical screening is, and it is actually something important, as it does help to prevent cancer, cervical cancer in particular. Before I go into the video and giving you information about cervical screening, I want to insert a quote that I live by. I think it's important, especially for this video. It's quite short, but it speaks volumes, and I'm just gonna put it here throughout the duration of the video. And that phrase or quote is, "Health is wealth." Health should really be one of your top priorities. I mean, with busy schedules and life in general, people may compromise their health and not put it at the top of their list, but it is important to talk about ways that we can eat healthy and to live a more balanced life, a more healthier life. So I love this quote, and I'm going to put this at the bottom so that you can be reminded through the whole of the video. Also, another thing that I would like to say is that I searched information on cervical cancers, the human papilloma virus, and cervical screening in general. Obviously, prior to my cervical screening test, I really didn't have that much information, and talking to some girlfriends about cervical cancer in general, I found that a lot of people didn't really know what it was. Why is it important? It should be as important as checking for other cancers, because this actually affects your cervix. Your cervix is part of your uterus, in the lower part of your uterus. It is the opening from your vagina, the part of your uterus that dilates and where the baby is pushed through when given birth. So it is important, and we want to make sure that we find ways to prevent from this sort of cancer happening, and by encouraging other girls and other women to have regular checkups for the cervical screening tests, then I think that this will also encourage them to have a different outlook on health in general and to really take care of their bodies. So, what is a cervical screening test? A screening test is carried out to check the health of your cervix, and in particular it helps to detect the human papilloma virus, or also known as HPV. Actually, there's not just one HPV virus. There is actually more than 100 different strains of viruses that are known by types. So there are both low risk and high risk strains. For example, HPV type 16 and type 18 cause around 70 to 80% of cervical cancers. There is also low risk types of strains as well, which are more commonly seen to develop genital warts. I will touch upon that later in this video. It is important to do a screening test just to detect any abnormal cells, and if these are found, then they can be treated and removed through several procedures, depending on how severe it is. Just a side note that the cervical screening test is not a test to detect cancer. It is actually a way to prevent it, to find the virus that can cause the cancer from developing. So this is actually a very important test because prevention is key. It's more easier to prevent something than to cure something. So when should you go and how to book for an appointment? I'm 25. I turned 25 in December, and prior to my 25th birthday I received a letter in the post around October, November times. This was the invitation to book for an appointment at my GP to carry out the test. The letter gave out some general information of what the screening test is and why it is carried out. So of course, being somebody that sees prevention as key, I booked my appointment through my GP. So in the UK it can be quite difficult to book for an appointment, especially in the morning, but surprisingly it wasn't just the doctors that can take the cervical screening test. I actually was given my appointment with the nurse. My nurse was a lovely lady called Mrs. P, and she made my experience amazing. She spoke to me about the procedure. She reassured that everything was going to be fine, and for me I had actually a really good experience. So the test is carried out just to monitor any cells and detect any abnormal cells, which are then taken through as a sample. These will be tested and then treated straight away, depending on if you have a positive result. I know that speaking to some women about cervical screening, the main thing that they worry about is whether it hurts. In my experience, it didn't hurt. I mean, there's a little discomfort, but there was no pain at all. So what happens during the screening test?
An instrument called a speculum will be inserted into your vagina and used to open the walls of the vagina so that your cervix can be seen. A soft brush is then inserted through the speculum onto your cervix. The brush will be rotated a few times to collect the sample. The brush will then be washed in a specimen pot, and the pot will be sent to the lab for processing.
Prior to going for my appointment, I'm not gonna lie, I had a lot of worries, okay? I was constantly telling my boyfriend, oh my gosh, like, help, I'm so worried, like, I'm so nervous, I hope it's not gonna hurt, I hope it's not gonna take a long time. I was thinking about whether I would go there and be scared, embarrassed, nervous. I think a lot of these worries came because I read forums, and people on forums talk about either a really positive experience or a really negative one, and unfortunately the ones that I read were quite negative ones. But prior to the appointment I told myself, you know what, I'm going to remain calm, I'm going to listen to the nurse, and I'm going to make sure that I wear comfortable clothing and that I'm ready for the test, and to not work myself up, because I'm somebody that worries a lot. So I told myself, I'm not going to do this, I just gotta, I gotta stay calm and just push through it, because I know it's not going to take long anyway. I get to my appointment now at my GP, and I was greeted by the lovely nurse, Mrs. P. She sat me down, and before starting the procedure she spoke to me about what exactly is going to happen. She asked me whether I am on my period right now, because the best time to collect a sample of your cells is when you're not on your period, and actually when you're on the 2nd week of your cycle. She showed me the speculum. I actually thought that it was going to be much bigger than that, because in pictures it actually looks quite big, but actually it's not big at all, so that I was relieved with that. And also the swab that she uses to collect the cells sample from the cervix. Even from when she told me to remove my clothes, there was a screen, so that obviously I had privacy. She told me lay on the bed flat with legs up. The part of my thigh and my stomach would be covered with a towel. Comes to the procedure now, she's still talking to me. She's got the most calmest voice, and I think that's what really helped me to stay calm throughout the whole thing. She was really telling me when she was going to put in the speculum, when she was going to insert the swab, for me to just keep breathing. Surprisingly enough, the procedure literally took less than 5 minutes. When she inserted the speculum, it did not hurt at all. Okay, this is something that I have to stress. It doesn't hurt. It's not a pain like if you get hit or if your skin stretches, you know, like if you pull your skin or you get your skin caught on something. It's not like a paper cut. It doesn't hurt when it's inside. I mean, it can be uncomfortable, and she did say that there could be slight bleeding for the next few days. So after the procedure, she told me that I would receive a letter in the post about my result, and luckily for me, I got a negative result. Let me just go and get the letter and read to you what it says. I got the letter that I received in the post about my result. So it reads, "Thank you for coming for your cervical screening test. Your screening sample was tested for the human papilloma virus, and no evidence of the virus was found. This is called an HPV negative result. As you have a negative HPV result, it is highly unlikely that you will have any abnormal cervical cells. This means we didn't need to carry out any further tests on your sample." And it just gives another paragraph stating that HPV is a common virus, that most women will be affected with it at some point in their life. Like I said before, there's not just one HPV virus. There are different strains of it, which can lead to different sorts of infections. HPV can be passed on through any type of sexual activity with a man or a woman, and it can affect the cervix without causing any symptoms at all. And it also says my next screening test is due or around 2022. So yeah, it says that the screening cannot prevent every cervical cancer, as cancer can develop in between screening. So between now and 2022, cancer can develop, but obviously if you have any symptoms such as bleeding in between your periods, an unusual vaginal discharge, any pain, discomfort during sex, then it is advised that you contact your GP and you get that checked out straight away. I mean, even if you do have any unusual symptoms, you should still go to your GP and check it out anyway, just to be sure, because like I said in this video, prevention is key. So why is it important to go for a screening test? Like I said before, the screening test is not to detect cancer, it's actually to prevent the cancer from developing. HPV is not a single virus, but it is a family of different strains of viruses. And those who contract it may not even show any symptoms at all. And in some cases, your own immune system can remove the virus without you ever even knowing that you had it in the first place. It is important to carry out regular screening tests so that the chances of cancer from developing is reduced immensely. If there's evidence of HPV, this is known as a positive result. For me, I received my letter and I got a negative result, but you don't need to worry because further tests will be carried out and you'll be treated at a clinic straight away so it doesn't turn into cervical cancer. It is also important to take these precautionary steps to preventing a virus that can lead to something as life-threatening as cervical cancer. So if you know anybody that's going to go through a cervical screening test, just let them know that it is important. Even though it might be a bit scary, the procedure is really quick, it doesn't hurt, there may be a little bit of discomfort, but generally you'll be thanking yourself for taking these precautionary steps into preventing something that can be quite serious to your health. I want to talk about a common HPV infection, and this is genital warts. In most cases, genital warts are caused mainly by type 6 and type 11. Genital warts is a STI caused by certain low-risk strains. These cause painless, fleshy bumps that can be found on your genital areas, in the scrotum, in the thigh, on your anus, also in the penis. So genital warts doesn't just affect women, it also affects men. Warts are common and some may carry the virus without any symptoms at all, like I said earlier, and actually it can be in the bloodstream as well, so it can be hard to detect or to know that there's something wrong with you or something that you feel like is not right. So currently there is no cure for HPV, but there are a number of ways to treat the symptoms such as the warts. These tiny flesh, sometimes itchy bumps in the genital area. However, if these are treated as soon as possible, then there won't be a risk of it turning into cervical cancer. Methods include creams, freezing, acids, and even surgically removing the warts, but these are in extreme cases if the prior methods didn't work. It is also important to note that whether you've been treated by removing the warts or if they go away by themselves, there may still be flare-ups after several months if the HPV infection causing the flare-ups has not been cleared by your immune system. So if you notice anything that is out of the ordinary for you, that doesn't feel normal, whether you see more little bumps, itchiness, any discomfort, then I would encourage you to please go and see your GP, or if it's really bothering you, go straight to the sexual health clinic, or you can even go to a walk-in centre where they aim to see you on that day if there is no appointments at your GP. So I've had a conversation with a woman who has experienced contracting genital warts. She expressed to me that she was very scared. Of course, this is something she never experienced before, and not really being able to open up about it to people because she had worries about what people would say, what would happen if it would lead into cancer, why is this happening, can it be cured, flare-ups, just being conscious about her body as well. So it is understandable because people who have it do worry about it, but by addressing the issue, by taking necessary steps, she now is able to talk about it and not feel nervous or anxious about talking about her experience. And I'm grateful that she shared that with me so that I can have a better insight into what it feels like to have a positive result of HPV and dealing with it, and what emotions come with dealing with this type of HPV. In her particular case, it took her a very long time for the warts to clear up. In the present time, she has actually overcome it. She's overcome that hurdle of being embarrassed, of not being able to express herself fully, being really scared, and something that she's not afraid to speak about it. And I applaud her so much for being so open with me, and for being so open about telling other ladies of just how important it is to get yourself checked out, and that just because you don't have physical symptoms, you may still have it in your bloodstream. You may still contract the infection through just skin to skin. I didn't know this before, so it has really helped me to really understand what she went through. Prior to being 25, if you do have a positive HPV infection, then you may still be invited for a screening test just to detect any more abnormal cells in your cervix. So I've got my notes here, and I'm just gonna answer a few questions that some people have asked me, and some questions that I actually wanted to find out for myself about this topic. So the first question is, does it hurt? And this is in relation to the procedure. So like I said, in my experience, it did not hurt at all. It was really quick. The nurse helped immensely in my experience. She helped me to be more calm. She really, because she spoke about the procedure to me, it helped me to calm my nerves and to really put myself in a calm mood and mind. So yeah, it doesn't hurt. Next question is, should I still get it done? So should I still get the cervical screening test done if I'm a virgin or in a monogamous relationship? Right, so a quote that was on the Cancer Research UK video was that if you've got a cervix, then cervical screening is for you. Okay, it doesn't matter if you're in a monogamous relationship, if you're still a virgin, the chances of contracting cervical cancer is not 0%. There is still a chance. So for me, if there's still a chance, then I see it as a way for me to really do more research and to find ways that I can prevent it from happening. And this screening test is a great way to do that, to really take hold of your health. And in the UK, the test is free, and especially if you're invited through a letter. If you're the age of 25 and above, you are expected to come in for a test every 3 years just to monitor any abnormal cells in your cervix. The HPV vaccine has only been given to girls aged 11 or 12 in the UK up until the ages of 26, but amazingly this year, 2019, starting from September, boys starting from year 8 will now be given the opportunity to receive a HPV vaccine, which can help them to prevent from developing cancers which can affect them. So I think this is amazing. It has taken quite some time for it to be available for boys, but I think by encouraging men as well to take care of their health, to be checked out, to not be embarrassed by taking hold of your health, I think it can really help to prevent these cancers from happening, and to give people a insight, a new mindset into putting their health as a top priority in their life. Since the vaccine has been introduced, it has been said that there has been a great reduction in HPV infections, warts, and precancerous growth. So that's amazing. I think it's very wise of you to spread important information that can affect both men and women. For this particular video, even though I speak about cervical screening test, it is still noted that HPV, which causes cancer, can still affect men. It is also important to tell not only women but teenage girls as well about this procedure, especially those who may be sexually active or prior to being sexually active, that they can contract the HPV infection without even having any symptoms at all. So giving them some information about the vaccine may help them decide whether they want to take it or not. Of course, they would still need their parental consent because they are still underage, but just to give them some information about what is to come, especially when they do turn 25, they would get that invitation to have a cervical screening test. I'm going to insert some links in the description below, also some videos that I watched that actually sparked my interest into wanting to speak about this and to help other girls to really open their eyes to see that this is important, and to not worry about it. Just want to say thank you so much for watching this video, and like I said throughout this whole video, health really is wealth, and by taking these precautionary steps into preventing something as serious as cervical cancer, I think is very wise of you. It's very brave to want to take hold of your health and to want to spread information to other people by talking about it, by talking about your own personal experiences, and just to get people to talk about it in general is the first step into helping others understand the importance of keeping your health as a top priority in your life. If you've got any information or anything you want to tell me, any of your experiences that you would like to share with me, then feel free to leave a comment at the bottom. Or if you want to ask some questions as well, of course you can leave a comment. I'm also going to leave my social media links in the description box so that you ask me there as well. So thank you again so much for watching, and I will see you on my next video.